Hi there. My name is Aaron Lanterman. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Georgia Tech, and this is the W65C265SXB development board by Western Design Center. The 65C265 is a microcontroller based on the 65816 architecture, which itself is an extension of the classic 6502. And this is an expansion board I made for this particular microcontroller board that adds a couple of ports for Sega Genesis controllers. It will also work with Sega Master System or Atari 2600. And yes, this is the second revision. So the last revision I made, I got everything else working, except I had the pin connections mirror imaged. Okay, so here I have the board to interface with the Sega controllers on top of the W65C265SXB development board. And plugging into port 1, I have this Sega Genesis style controller. Plugged into port 2, I have this Sega Master System style controller. So I bashed out this not very good bunch of 65816 code in order to test it. This really needs some comments. So you talk to the development board over a serial connection, and historically I've used this tty.whatever, but for some reason, although the board will send me text, I can't type back at the board with that. I used to be able to, and now I can't. No idea what's going on there. But anyway, it does seem to work if I use this cu.version. So let me start up EasySXB. That's tricky to say. Now, you should be able to type this in the EasySXB window, but I find that doesn't work for me for some reason here. I need to actually put it here using this -- port command. All right, so here's that EasySXB, and let's connect to the board. Okay, we have the correct kind of board. And now we're in the monitor. I can ask it for help. And let's upload our program. So I'll say upload program, contest.hex. That's the assembled code. All right. So we've uploaded that. And now, let's see, where did I put the program? Okay, I put it at 1000. Okay, full disclosure, I lost contact with the board, so I had to restart it, upload the program again. Anyway, let's jump to this 001000 spot. All right, it says hello world, and we go up, down, left, right. This is on controller 1, A, B, C, and here's the start button. Yay! All right, so controller 1 is in uppercase. Controller 2 is in lowercase. So I have up, down, left, right, and then I have A button and then the other button. Okay, now notice that the A button reported as A and B, and the other button reported as C and start. That's because the way that the Sega Genesis works, there's actually an output value you need to send to the controller. And depending on the value, that tells the controller whether to report A or B or C or S. So the Sega Master System controller doesn't have that logic to figure out what you mean, so it says yes to both. That's expected behavior. Now, it won't know what to do with the X, Y, and Z buttons. These won't show up right now. In theory, the hardware I made here should be able to handle that, but the software is more complicated. That output pin that I told you about, that's sending a signal to the controller, you have to toggle that in a certain pattern to be able to access these other controller buttons. So I think you should be able to program it to get these buttons, but obviously I haven't tested it, so I'm not really sure. Okay, last thing I want to do is swap these and make sure it still works. Basically to make sure that the 3-button controller works in both ports. So I just swapped those controllers while it was on, and it seemed to hang the system. I don't think it should do that. I'll need to think about that. Anyway, I rebooted. Let's load the program again. Okay, on the Genesis controller, I got up, down, left, right, A, B, C, start. And over in the Sega Master System, I have up, down, left, right, button 1, button 2. All right. If you're interested in a description of how the hardware works, I would invite you to check out this earlier video I made titled Sega Game Controller Interface PCB. The main thing I want to warn you is that this is for an earlier version of the board where I had the pins on the controller connectors backwards. This is part of what I'm calling the RetCom87 project, a homebrew computer sort of vaguely themed around the year 1987.